Cheers.
Hello, friend.
Hello, how are you
I'm
doing?
great. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I am finally on Colorado Mountain Standard Time after coming back from Japan, and amazing trip that we went on.
We did. We had it. We'll have a whole episode on our Japan travels.
So now that I have, returned and able to get back on normal time and get some regular sleep, I'm doing great. But great news on the Jefferson front.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Went and saw my bestie and also one of my other friends. And they've decided after all of, we had parents, we had students, we had staff, we had community members show up for the last school board meeting and talked about, their story and, kind of gave their plea of leaving our school alone. Mm-hmm. And luckily the district decided that they're going to leave Jefferson alone for 2 years.
Awesome. So the original plan was to keep it open next year, but close it the year after so they could rebrand it. And everyone came out and said, absolutely not. And they listened.
Absolutely. And it was the community that came together, that rallied. I mean, I was able to join a parent group, engage Jeffco, that are, parents from other parts of the district, and they were very concerned about what was going on at Jefferson. Yeah. So shout out to Engage Jeffco, and thank you for the work that you did.
Yeah.
Because they organized, they hustled, and they got, people to show up, myself included, to go back into the Ed Center to talk to the school board about why they need to keep Jefferson open. And
public comment. Rhiannon was there. We have it posted on our Insta and Facebook. Go check it out. It was really exciting and impressive.
It was nice to be back. It seemed like, coming home, like a homecoming.
Yeah.
But because of my bestie and also my other friend, that was my colleague for years, those two were able to organize the community and organize the parents, and they all came together for a walk-in, and it was magical.
That's right. That made the news too, didn't it?
It sure did.
That was really cool. That was super exciting.
And
it's honestly the first walk-in that I saw in my time doing these things that felt effective. I mean, and it made the news, which is huge, because a lot of times they just are a blip if they're mentioned at all. So
and my bestie was on the news too for a couple. Oh, so proud of her. Very proud of you. But it was just really nice to see. Like, this is what, when you show up, and more than just like post something on Facebook or, they all showed up to all of these community meetings. Yep. And these, my former colleagues who have taught 8 hours all day with kids and have their own children and their own families and their own things. And then to come to all of these meetings at night and stay for at least 2 hours or more. It was really, really cool to see.
Really powerful.
Very powerful. How everyone came together to show up for Jefferson, and they won.
Yeah, and they did. They won. That is a victory.
It is.
That is a victory. So let's cheers that victory.
Cheers to Jefferson.
This is showing up.
And that's what it took.
Yep.
And that's kind of our theme, I think, for this episode.
Sure.
Coming off the heels of that, is just, seeing all of this excitement and build up and people showing up, en masse to all of these different rallies, and, whether it has been, showing up to see Bernie and AOC or the hands-off rallies.
Yep.
It's been very nice to see all of these people show up.
Yes.
But I guess my question that I have is, now what? And as one of our good friends always says, that used to annoy us to all ends when we were in the union, but it makes total sense. But and what? Or
yes,
and so. Yes, and.
Yes, and. Yes, all these people are showing up to a Bernie AOC rally. Yep. Yes, all of these people are showing up to the hands-off marches. And now what? And now what? And that's what I feel so excited about the Jefferson story, is that that's an example of the and now what?
Yeah.
Like, show up and now what? Like, people, like, we've been advocating for and trying to, explain to folks, like, put your body in these spaces, show up to these rallies, show up to a school board meeting. A lot of these things are online too. You can Zoom in, especially like if you wanted to testify on a bill at the Capitol, like that is online. Anyways, it is important and exciting to be in the streets. A walk-in is exciting. A march, a rally is exciting.
It is. We get it.
But then what?
And both of us, as you know, have been, very integral in our former unions and the work that we did. And we have been on the streets and marched. And it feels good when you're in with all of these people who think like you and, have the same viewpoint as you, are all there, dedicated to this particular cause. Yeah. It's what we call anima. And that's what helps build.
I thought it was animo.
Animo. Excuse me. Thank you. Yes, no, you're right. I'm sorry. Animo. And that's what gets people excited and gets people, to start labor movements and different movements. And that is absolutely important right now.
Yep.
Absolutely. Because that's going to help impact and affect other people who may have never felt that.
Exactly. It invites people in.
Absolutely.
It's a really great invitation to kind of, and a cool place to start, because your boots are on the ground.
Yep.
You are with like-minded people. You get to yell. Which
is a lot of fun and very cathartic.
Yes. Very few opportunities in our life do we get to really just,
yeah.
And you get to do that at a rally and march. So I get it. I mean, the old gen, the hardcore Democratic gen would have just lost it to see Bernie and AOC up close, and to have it be one of the largest rallies in Denver history, one of the largest rallies in Greeley history.
Yeah.
Like, old school Jen, who was a Dem, is excited for everybody who got to be there. But we've kind of talked about our worldview shattering after union work, running for office.
Yeah. It's one of the three swords through the heart.
Yes. And the Three of Hearts tarot card. My worldview shattered, and I am no longer a Democrat. I am unaffiliated, because part of that world shattering for me was seeing that the party I had identified with, belonged to, fought for, was just as bad as the Republicans. They are the same, just under, like, literally different colors, a blue shirt and a red shirt. That's it. They're the same. And so I lost a lot of respect for Bernie and AOC as well in that movement, because these people who I thought were really progressive aren't. And they buy into all of these things that, what I think I'm a true progressive, lunatic left. Is that what we're called now? Something like this?
My uncle calls me a libtard, but
whatever we're labeled as.
Love you, Uncle Jim.
Real far over there. It was the genocide in Gaza for me that, no, hard no. And this is why I think Trump got elected, why Kamala Harris didn't, is there is enough people whose worldviews have been shattered, especially by this genocide in Palestine. That
BT Dubs is still going on.
Yeah. 18 months in now?
Yeah.
So that's part of why, I haven't been able to go to those rallies, because I just don't agree with them at all anymore. But also these hands-off rallies organized by a 50-51 movement, which is backed by these same Dems, these progressive, I say with quotes, progressive Dems. I can't go to those because I do not agree. It's the establishment. It's the same group of people that are funding and facilitating a genocide, trying to rally, people. So I'm not here to hate on the folks who have gone and who are getting excited, but you're not seeing Rhiannon and I there on purpose, because it's just,
we're taking a rest. And I think part of it is because it feels performative. And I think being on the outside and after being through all the political system and seeing the dark side and, the room, being in the room where it happened, I have a different perspective, and Genevieve was right there next to me in these rooms. And so we see it through a different lens, and it becomes hypocritical to a point. It becomes so hypocritical that it's very frustrating. During my campaign, when I ran, we got pushback from people about coming out against what was going on in Gaza and, trying to support a ceasefire. And it was a huge deal. And, coming forth, supporting Gaza, denouncing what the Israeli government was doing, was a no-no. We even had the leader of the Democratic Party here in Colorado, denounce anyone who.
It was an email, I believe. It was an email. It's like, if you do not take the party line,
you'll be shunned, essentially.
In this party. And it was real.
And I was the only candidate out of all of the candidates that were running in my race to come out and call for a ceasefire. And even say something even say the word Gaza.
Genocide.
And even say the word genocide. Thank you. Because that was a big deal too. And
yeah, that was a hard no. You couldn't even use that word. And all the while, I was teaching a genocide studies class at my last school district. Mm-hmm. It is really hard to know better and be in these spaces where it's just like, nope, can't talk about it. Nope, this is offline or off limits. You will be targeted if you do. And that's what happened.
That's
in a lot of ways.
Especially to you. And I think when you come out and you say something that the rest of the people either don't want to hear or they think it's like, oh, too much, that's when you know you're saying the right thing.
Yeah, when you're making people uncomfortable.
And that's something that you learn.
Truth. And when you're making people uncomfortable with the truth.
And we learn this through our anti-racist work that we've done. We've been in those spaces or in those environments where we've, made people feel uncomfortable. And made people, put a mirror up to people's faces. And even if they didn't recognize or agree with the reflection that they saw or what was being, portrayed or, shown to the rest of the world, that can make people very uncomfortable.
It does.
And this is the same thing. And so when we've had conversation with friends and it's almost like you get mad. They think that we're like ostriches, with our head in the sand.
No, I don't even think it's that. I think it's that maybe we call out that they are. When we talk about these things, if we're making you uncomfortable.
Because we understand the insides.
If you're listening to this right now and it's making you uncomfortable, what we're asking for you is to sit in that discomfort. Mm-hmm. Really do your own work on why it is uncomfortable. The truth hurts. We have been lied to. We are history teachers.
Deceived.
We were taught a whole different story. Mm-hmm. Leading, that we've had curriculum thrown in our laps that defies what we know is real and what really happened and are tasked to teach it. And so it's okay to be uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. That's the space that we need a lot of people to be in right now.
And that's the space of growth. Yes. And that's the space of knowledge.
Yes.
And that's the space when you understand things and you're able to have that vulnerability where you can ask those questions where you don't understand something. But I think that some of these rallies and things are performative because my ask to you, and I invite you all, I'm not shaming you, but I'm asking you, what have you done since then?
Yeah. A rally. Yes,
rally is great. Yes. A rally is awesome. It's you get your picture on Instagram or Facebook, you get to show pictures of the different signs that are there, and you get to,
you're in solidarity, and then being in solidarity is a really incredibly powerful feeling.
It is.
That's what being in community is too. And so that's a taste of being in community.
Yep.
The solidarity of being at a rally, being at a march.
Because what I've seen in the past is that you get excited for the rally, and you're there, and you're blah, 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 and then boom.
And then what?
And now what?
So the now what?
The now what is what we want to talk about.
You've been to the rally, you went on a march, and now what?
Yep.
Are you still shopping at Target and Walmart?
My question also, exactly, not only are you shopping at Walmart or Target, are you ordering from Amazon?
Yep. Are you going through the McDonald's drive-in? Are you still getting Starbucks?
Yep.
Are you aware of what the BDS movement is, the boycott, divest, and sanction movement around the genocide in Palestine is?
Yes. What else are you doing? Are you writing your congressmen or your representatives or your state representatives or your state senators? Are you showing up to, to a
city council meeting?
Exactly.
Whatever is hyper local, like
a school board meeting.
A lot of folks had to drive down to the Capitol to do these things, right? Which is great. And that's commitment. But you can also do these things locally as well. Like your school board meeting, city council meeting. Do you have a kid in a school?
Have you gone to a PTA? Have you joined your PTA? And I know for some people that's hard to do because you're trying to balance everything and understand. But did you go to a parent-teacher conference? Have you showed up to your HOA meeting? I mean,
right.
And we're not here from a pedestal, shaming people. No. Have I shown up to an HOA meeting? Hell no.
Well, I'm the president of mine, so
she's a different story.
You can't do everything, and that's part of it too.
No, but
just show up at a rally and think that's good. We're gonna need more. The movement is gonna need more
because it's good for you to address the government of your concerns.
Yeah,
and it's good to be able to assemble and feel all of that. But then my next challenge to you is to use your other First Amendment right, and that is your freedom of speech. And that is for you to write to people.
Yep.
For you to go beyond just coming to a rally. And also, not only you showing up to these places and spaces, but do you know your neighbor? Have you knocked on your neighbor's door? I just happened to meet my new neighbor that moved next door. They have a wonderful cat. Her name is Pixel. She is adorable, very vocal, comes over and visits. I also know of the elderly gentleman who is a Vietnam vet who lives next door.
Yep.
I know of the former vet who lives across the street who is in Afghanistan. And so I've tried to get to know my neighbors a little bit because if shit goes down, I want to make sure that the guy next door who's in his 70s, who is a Vietnam vet, is okay.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that my neighbor across the street, who is a member of the LGBTQ community, feels safe in our neighborhood and feels safe in our community here.
Yep.
I want to make sure that the single mom who lives down the street feels safe for her little girl to ride her bike up and down the street.
Yep.
And so part of this ask is not only to write your congressperson or write your state legislator.
To do one more thing than just the rally and the march.
And that could just be give a simple hello to your neighbor.
Yeah.
And I know, we come from a society or a culture that we don't want people to know what's going on in our business or what's and
we're
people
are
safe.
A lot of that.
That's coming from a space of fear. So instead of coming from this space of fear, come from a space of love.
Yep.
get to know people around you, get involved in the community that you live in. Go and show up to other spaces that aren't always given the love, like city council, for example.
So little love.
And that could be very easily as you like turning on, because everything is streamed now.
It should be, yeah.
And so you can stream and be one of those people that are viewing.
So that's where we had a lot of success too when we were doing union work during the pandemic. Was our district, I mean, I think they have to regardless, but we're live streaming negotiations and school board meetings. And so a huge part of like our success was the number of humans that logged in to watch those things live and then also afterwards.
Yep.
And when you have 900 people watching negotiations, where before the pandemic it was maybe 9 other people in the room, it changes things.
Yep.
It changes the tone, and it worked. Yep. We got so many wins during those years because of that, because of the number of humans who were logged in and watching.
Yep.
Granted, us on the union side had to let the management team know. I had a little whiteboard. I would erase and update the numbers so they could see it. But it was powerful, and
absolutely.
So logging in, showing up, bodies in spaces. You don't have to talk; just be there, and that's part of the success that Jefferson had.
Yeah,
is people showed up
en masse. I mean, that auditorium was packed.
Yep.
And crowds freak people out in a sense, and I don't mean like the people that are in the crowd, but the opposition. Crowds freak out the opposition. And the look on a lot of the power in numbers. But to see the look on the district's faces, to see how many people were there, is magical. And it's powerful. It's powerful. And so showing up in these places where you normally wouldn't be, that is what we're asking. That is what we're challenging you.
Yes.
That is what we're inviting you to do. Is to think about and now what? Because showing up to these rallies are important.
They're a great first step.
They are a great first step. And seeing more people engaged in the process, because this is part of not only a constitutional right to assemble, but it also, as you can tell, like it's spreading the word.
Yes.
And this is good.
Yes.
But
our point is like, you've got to go a little bit beyond that too.
Beyond that. It's more than you showing up to the Capitol to shout at empty buildings.
On a Saturday when no one's working.
On a Saturday when no one's working, to empty buildings.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things is with the 2018 move with the Red for Ed movement that we both were heavily involved with, is that when we showed up to the Capitol, we were showing up to a full building that was full of the representatives and senators who were just inside making
the budget.
It
was right before they were going to vote on it, right?
And so there was a purpose. Yeah. There was a
rally, a march.
Yeah,
there was a purpose to be there.
And I know
we want to freak you out because you have this vote coming up, and these are your constituents, and these are humans who could shut it down,
and they could hear us while they're passing
debating
law. And we had the afternoon. You go and lobby, and you had a chance to talk to these different representatives and senators.
Being in solidarity, fighting for a specific thing, especially with a group of people who have been doing this for a very long time, is kind of the place I think we need to go now. Like, I think there's folks are coming together en masse. Fuck yes.
Which is amazing.
Yes.
And needs to happen. And the more people that we wake up, the better.
Yep.
But again, our last ask is, now what? Speak at your school board meeting. See what's going on with city council. Don't shop at Target. Don't
stop
order
going to
from
Starbucks.
Amazon. I can't say that because
don't do McDonald's. Look, I have boycotted at a 95% rate. Do I every once in a while? Yeah. But
When it's necessary, yes. However, trying to do the best that you can every single day, educating yourself more, that's how you change. And that's how you inspire others to change.
Exactly.
And so...
And sharing your experience with
absolutely.
That, which is partly why we're doing this.
Absolutely.
Because we've learned a lot. We've changed a lot. And I want to share that. Especially because I'm not in the classroom anymore. Because I used to be able to teach about these things. And I don't do that on a daily anymore.
So, and BT Dubs, I am sending so much positive energy and love to all educators. It is going to be May 1st soon. May is one of the hardest months that exists in a teacher's life. So much love to all you educators out there, because I know this month is hard. But you're almost there. You're almost there.
It's the slide between spring break and summer.
So, to end, think about what you can do. Little things, little steps. Because I know for a lot of us that seems overwhelming, but little steps that you can do to build that community and to continue the
community.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because it doesn't stop showing up at the Capitol.
Yeah.
It needs to continue.
That's where it starts.
And that's where the change truly happens. So please take care of yourselves. Continue to fight the man. Take care, everyone. Thank you for listening. And
love you all.
Love you all. Take care.
Bye.
Mwah.